Hello and welcome to another KitPlus TV show supported by Mediaproxy. Now, we don't need to tell anyone here that interest in virtualized media production has exploded in the last couple of years. It was happening anyway, but the recent acceleration in the need of combining on-premise facility and cloud processing, enabling remote work and resource sharing has been at the center of business planning for the future.
Yeah, in September 2020, Sony announced that it was acquiring Nevion to enhance its portfolio of end-to-end IP cloud-based production solutions. So just after 1 year into this investment, we're wondering how things are going for Nevion and what might have happened since. Please welcome Olivier Suard from Nevion to tell us a little bit more.
Hi, Olivier. Welcome to the show. Good to see you.
Hi, good to see you guys.
So firstly, Olivier, for those that may not have come across Nevion before, can you give us a brief outline of the services and solutions that you offer?
Sure. So Nevion's been in business just over a quarter of a century. We celebrated our 25 years in business last year. And we started out in Norway many years ago. And I would say back then we were specializing in transport of media, video, audio, and associated data. But as the IP revolution came along, we were one of the early adopters there. And we really saw how IP was not just another technology, but actually a transformational technology. And as a result, the business we're in now is really about enabling completely new workflows by connecting resources, equipment, locations, people together to create what we see as a new form of production, a distributed production where everything is shared regardless of the location.
What do I, as a content creator or content owner, depending on which type of solution, what do I need to start integrating your solutions? Do I need particular hardware investment? Is it just software? Is it just an internet connection? What do I need?
You need us.
What's it all, or should I say, what's a typical setup then? Where's the typical starting point? Yeah.
Well, it's quite difficult to say what is typical and what isn't typical. We have opportunities with customers that are very simple, involving one piece of product or an upgrade to something they already have. But in a way, the business that we're seeing a lot of is this transformational business that I was talking about. So it's essentially broadcasters, or in some cases telcos, coming to us and saying, I want to use IP, but not just to do the same thing as I've been doing with SDI, but I actually want to transform the way I want to do my business. So as a result, what we're offering obviously products, solutions. But as part of those solutions, we also have a fair amount of services, particularly consultancy and support and deployment and support and all these sort of things. So there's a mixture of things. But I would say almost in these transformational projects, the biggest thing that we, and indeed Sony, bring to the story is actually that experience and that expertise in transforming businesses through IP. But in terms of products, we within Nevion have two flagship products. We have one called Virtuoso, which is a software-defined media node. That's essentially, in the olden days, you might have called that a gateway, but it's more of a multi-purpose piece of equipment which has software running on it that will make it do all sorts of things. From encoding to firewalling, etc. And then the other product that we have that is our other flagship product is Video iPath, which is a orchestration and SDN control software. So really, that's really the brains that's connecting all those flows between the various locations, the various pieces of equipment, etc.
Yeah.
So what are the typical problems that your customers were having before they met you?
Well, that's interesting. So obviously, we have the business problems, which are essentially, I think they're known to everybody, that broadcasting is facing immense competition, not just from other broadcasters, but also from eyeballs, for people's eyeballs, in the terms of they're competing against social media, they're competing against user-generated content. They're competing against gaming. They're competing against so many things. So there's been a trend effectively where there is a need for broadcasters to produce a lot more content, a much more compelling content, particularly live content, because that's something that's very compelling and also very temporal. Live content means bringing people at a particular time in front of the television or their devices. So they need to create more of that, but because of the competition, they also need to do it more cost effectively. And that's the bottom line of what is driving a lot of those decisions that we're seeing in transforming people's businesses. When it comes to the practicality of using IP networks to transform the business, I think most broadcasters have a good idea of the potential of the technology. We were at the forefront of describing that 6-7 years ago. But in a way, they're lacking the depth of experience and expertise that we are exposed to, because we are doing projects all the time, small ones, big ones, multinational projects, transcontinental projects. And that's an experience and an expertise that is very difficult to get outside of the industry. So in a way, the biggest problem that our customers are having, apart from their business problems, are actually how do they get the most out of the IP technology, and how do they get that experience and expertise, and that's what they're coming to us for.
Yeah, cool. So, I mean, we covered a little bit the customer type things. I'd like to find out a little bit more about how you're getting on. It's been, 12 months since you were brought into the Sony family, shall we say, the Sony group of companies. How are you settling in, and how are you fitting into the whole Sony workflow now after that period of time?
Well, we were formally acquired in October 2020, so it's 1.5 years or so. But actually, we announced a close collaboration, a strategic partnership over a year before that. So in July 2019, if I recall correctly. So we had a whole year of dating, if you want, until we actually formally got married about 18 months ago. So it's been very much an approach of getting to learn about each other, and really what led to the acquisition was really the realization that we had a lot in common, and also a lot of complementary products, but also experience and expertise. So it's not been an overnight surprise to everybody. It's been a long running relationship. So in terms of settling in, we've literally been working at every level, from the management level to development, to sales, to marketing, to delivery, to support, with our colleagues in Sony across the world. And it's been working quite well. Obviously, we have different ways of doing things. So there's a lot of learning about each other and how we do things. And also we have different experiences and different approaches to things. So it's been a good journey in terms of learning about each other. I would say, obviously, pretty much all of it, happened in the shadow of the pandemic, which has not made things easy. We've not been able to meet face to face with most of our colleagues. We do a lot of work with our colleagues in Japan, for example, and these poor guys often have to stay up late to be able to take part in meetings with us in Europe. But it's worked remarkably well, considering we've not been able to meet and had to do everything electronically. It's been a brave step in a way to engage in this relationship, given that this happened during the pandemic, but it's worked out well. So I would say overall, very positive.
Yeah, well, let's hope 2022 gives us that opportunity to get face to face. Just so we can understand the sort of like the range that your technology is used on, can you give us an idea of the largest project and the smallest project where Nevion technology has been deployed in recent times?
Oh, in recent times, I guess we do a lot of projects with very high profile sports events, and you can think of a few from 2020. Well, they were scheduled in 2020, happened in 2021. Unfortunately, we're not allowed to say what they were, but I can tell you we're very actively involved in these very large sporting projects. So I can't give you details, but they are pretty big. I would say one of the projects that is public out there that we've done, that's in many ways one of the most interesting and largest, is with Discovery in Europe, and that involved effectively creating two private clouds. Well, we didn't create the private cloud, but we provided the connectivity for all their production across Europe, and that's been pretty challenging because of the scale. But it's involving many hundreds of thousands of flows, of video flows. It's across the continent, so it's going across many hundreds, even thousands of kilometers. And it really has been a very interesting project, but also a very challenging project. And I would say, in terms of things like orchestrating live production flows, it has to be one of the biggest one in the world. So that's at one end. Recently, we did a project with an OTT supplier based in the US, but it is everywhere. It provides video on demand to virtually every household. We've not announced it, so I can't tell you who it is, but you can imagine who it is. And they had an interesting project. I mean, it wasn't small, but it's compared to, for example, something like Discovery, it was relatively small. They had offices in premium location in Los Angeles, and that's where all the creatives are. But they also needed to use a lot of equipment, back-end processors, etc. And it was just very expensive to store all this back-end equipment in this premium location in Los Angeles. So they decided to move that out to a cheaper area within Los Angeles and just provide a remote connectivity between those two. And it's what you would almost call, it's kind of a remote production. It's one of the models for remote production.
It comes back to efficiencies in business, doesn't it? Really. So, as far as the future, what my interest now is sort of saying, like, okay, you've done a few of these things. You've probably learnt quite a lot over the last couple of years. What do we? Can we give us any clues to what the future might hold for what what's coming up? What can we see in the future?
From Nevion, I guess you're talking Nevion and Sony together.
Nevion,
okay.
Really,
yeah. So obviously, from one of the main drivers for Nevion for saying yes to Sony, I guess, was really that we'd reached organically as far as we could go, certainly in terms of reach and being able to service customers across the world in other locations. So one of the things you're beginning to see now is the Nevion products being marketed via Sony, or brought to the market and supported, etc. To a much broader audience, and be able to provide that scale to our customers in a way that we just couldn't do as a smaller entity as we were before. So there's a practical aspect to our customers, which you're going to see more of, our ability to to provide an even better service, etc. We have been working also on our joint value proposition, so bringing together those complementary products, services, expertise, and know-how, and explaining how that can be used and how that can be used as part of the IP transformation of a broadcaster or our customers in general. And then in practical terms, obviously, we are doing work together, developing our products further. We have expertise. For example, Sony has expertise in certain aspects of production that we simply don't have. We have an understanding, but we're not the deep experts. And now we're able to tap into that expertise to enhance some of our existing products. So our two flagship products, Virtuoso and Video iPath, are benefiting from the know-how that we're getting through Sony. So I think you can look forward to, as I said, reach, better proposition for our customers, as well as deeper capabilities of our actual products.
Brilliant. Thank you, Olivier. It's been really interesting talking to you, and obviously lots to look forward to. I'm guessing the website will be nevion.com. Yeah,
it is nevion.com, and of course you can also find it on the Sony Pro website as well, because we are connected as well. So you'll find details there if you want to come through the Sony website.
Yeah,
brilliant. Thank you very much indeed, Olivier. Do make sure you pop over to their website for more information. Thanks, of course, to Mediaproxy for their support of KitPlus TV, and thank you for watching. Don't forget, of course, to subscribe to the channel. And if you want to listen to these on the move, you can find the podcasts on your preferred podcast directory or kitplus.com/podcast. We'll see you next time.